Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Siti Fatima. I'm from English Literature class B. I want to explain the analysis of this short story. The title is "A Good Man is Hard to Find" by Flannery O'Connor. First is the description. A Good Man is Hard to Find by Flannery O'Connor begins with a discussion about planning a trip to Florida. The story's characters are introduced gradually after that, with the grandmother being the main one. She shares the home with her son Bailey and his wife, as well as there has three children. The story's most despised character, the Misfit gang, is introduced later. The grandmother learns about the heinous Misfit gang's escape from a federal prison and the impending danger they pose. As a result, the grandmother insists on traveling to Tennessee rather than Florida. The tour has been decided to hit the Florida. And grandmother considers an idea the next day while driving to work. And next is themes. Themes is in our recurring concept in a literary work as supported by Ryan et al. The identification of a story's themes allow readers to quickly get to the heart of the writing. Death, loss, and mortality are recurring themes in O'Connor's stories. Next is characteristic. There are 8 characters in this short story. First is grandmother. The grandmother, his characteristic is stubborn, selfish, a liar, and he likes to criticize but does not accept criticism. Depicted with a grandmother who has high taste is described from the way she dresses, and the grandmother's arrogance and selfishness are evident in the first 3 lines of the story. Rather than agreeing to the family's plans for a trip to Florida, he wanted to visit his connection in East Tennessee. In an attempt to get her family to go to Tennessee instead of Florida, the grandmother uses news of the runaway killer, the Misfit, to try to scare Belly into changing her mind. Next is the Misfit. The Misfit is a wanted criminal who comes across a family after their car crashes in the woods. And he follows a moral code that includes murder and self-destructiveness, but he also wonders about Jesus. And next is Bailey, the grandmother's son, who is also the family's head, has 3 children. Bailey appears to be affectionate and evidenced by the way he treats people around him. And next is John Weasley, a burly 8-year-old boy with glasses, noisy, and he likes to fight with his grandmother. Next is June Star, John Weasley's sister, who is just as annoying, and his sharp cutter when talking to people. Next is Mother, a broad-faced and innocent young woman who is Bailey's wife, who also looks patient because even though she has annoying mother-in-law, she still respects him. Next is Boy Billy, one of the escaped criminals. Boy Billy is fat and, according to John Store, looks like a pig. And the last is Hiram, one of the escaped criminals too. Hiram wears a gray hat and inspects the family's car. Next is setting. The story begins in the home of a family preparing for a trip to Florida in Atlanta, Georgia. The next day, the family travels southeast on highway and takes a detour on a dirt road where the car rolls over and lands in a ditch. The final scene occurs after the accident. It's the mid-20th century. The description of the landscape and the clothing of the characters indicate that the action takes place during the summer months. There's a plot. Um, the plot is a grandmother is taking a vacation with her family from Atlanta to Florida. The grandmother, who prefers to travel to East Tennessee, from the family that the violent criminal known as the Misfit is on the loose in Florida, but they do not alter their plans. They stop for lunch at Red Sammy's famous barbecue, and the grandmother and Red Sammy commiserate that the world is changing, and a good man is hard to find. After lunch, the family begins driving again, and the grandmother realizes they are near an old plantation she once visited. Wanting to see it again, she tells the children that the house has a secret panel and they clamor to go. Belia reluctantly agrees as they drive down a road. Their grandmother, the daughter, the grandmother, mother, the daughter, and the baby into the woods. More shots are heard throughout. The grandmother pleads for her life, telling the misfit she knows he is a good man and entreating him to pray. He engages her in a discussion about goodness, Jesus, and crime and punishment. She touches his shoulder, saying, "Why you are one of my babies? You are of my own children." But the misfit recalls and shoots her. And the climax of in this story is occurs when the old woman blurts out that she recognizes the driver of the black car as the misfit. According to second definition, uh, the climax occurs when the old woman reaches out and touches the misfit, who then shoots her 3 times. And the point of view in this story is uh, written in the third person or from an omniscient point of view. As a result, the reader can access the grandmother's thought and point of view, revealing the short story use of the third person of view. And there are some literary device such as symbolism. Simply put, it is literally element that employs representation or imagery. A closer look at the story reveals the use of symbol such as a grandmother's head, a misfit car, Tombsboro, a dark forest, and a cloudless sky. And another literary device is irony. The irony in the story is demonstrated by the perception of herself as a good and moral woman, which readers will not believe. The grandmother's action and thought and reveal her to be a different person than she believes. He is manipulative, lies, and is racist, and the character sees himself as the polar opposite of this. Why I choose this story? Because this story is one of the famous stories, and I was interested in the title when looking for a short story reference. Yes, and I think that's all that I can explain about the analysis of this story. Thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.